What's up, everyone? This is your host Elias Krishan back again once with another content for you. As promised, I actually told you all that I'll be talking a little bit about fantasy football with you guys as well. Because, yes, I mean, if we just talk about the real football, it can be a little bit disappointing, especially if you're a Spurs fan. The January window was indeed kind of shambolic. So, yeah, I thought why not have a little bit of fun in our own fantasy football and share a bit of tips and treats of what fantasy football is. If you're new, we'll be introducing you to the fantasy football, and also this month onwards we'll be starting our own league as well for fantasy football. So the fun is just about to begin. And if you're watching this video for the first time, if you stumble upon here and you would like to catch up on more of my content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. It really helps. And yeah, we should dive deep into it. So I'm not too sure how many of you have been actually catching up on Fantasy Premier League. So I'll be sharing a little bit of tips and treats of Fantasy Premier League with you guys, obviously. So basically, why I choose this time to particularly do a video on this is because the winter window has just ended. And a lot of you might be wondering that whether it's the right time to play a wild card that you have saved, because now Fantasy Premier League I think gives you 2 wild cards if I'm not mistaken. So is it the time where you should be actually using your wild card and bringing in all your favorite players that have changed the teams, that have changed the squads, and some of the new players? Is it the time to really now adding Pedro Porro in for you Spurs fans out there? So I'll be addressing all those kind of questions. But before we go into it, I just like to give a bit of an intro of what Fantasy Premier League actually is. So as you can see in the window here, Fantasy Premier League basically is something like this. Like you can actually see here this tab. For those of you, basically when you join Fantasy Premier League, you're actually asked to fill up your squad with about if I'm not mistaken 15 players. Yeah, it's 15 players in your team. You're supposed to choose 2 goalkeepers. One will be playing as your main goalkeeper and will be earning points for you in that game, and one will be your sub. Like let's say if for example my main goalkeeper is David Raya, and if David Raya somehow is injured and he doesn't play, then Danny Ward will come in for David Raya through an automatic substitute system. And the same goes for the rest of the players as well. So you can actually choose your formation based on, like, you can either play a 3-4-3, you can play a 4-3-3, or you can even I think play a 3-5-2. So you can basically work around with different sort of formations for different game weeks. I usually go with a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 usually, because I'm a big Antonio Conte fan, so I like to go a little bit with the Italian system with 3 at the back. Just kidding, it all doesn't apply here. Just kidding. Don't get confused, guys. So basically, this is here. So basically, you are supposed to choose 5 defenders, and every week you must play at least 3 defenders. So that's why the 3 works for me. That's why I usually play 3 at the back in my FPL. And the same goes for midfielders as well. You must play at least 3 midfielders, and definitely you can choose up to 5. Like you can select up to 5 midfielders in your squad, but you must play at least 3. And the forwards, you can only choose up to 3. Like you can only choose 3 strikers. So you must play at least 3 strikers. You must play at least 1 striker if I'm not mistaken. Either you can play 1 striker or you can play 2 strikers. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, you can actually play with 1 striker. Like let's say if you're playing a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1, yeah, you can actually play with 1 striker only if you want to, and then you can put two of your strikers on the bench. So it really depends on the formation that you're playing, but I think it's important that you have to play at least 3 midfielders and at least 3 defenders in your team. Those 3 are must. You can play more than 3 defenders, you can play more than 3 midfielders, but at least you must have 3 defenders and 3 midfielders in your squad. So these are some of the basics, like, and even from among those three, actually every week, depending on your formation, you have to leave 3 players overall among your defenders, among your midfielders, and among your forwards on the bench. For example, if a certain player doesn't play on that game week, then though that particular sub can come in to replace him as an automatic substitution that the system will make for you. So basically, I think pretty much most of us who are familiar with the Premier League, the Fantasy Premier League, you kind of understand these basics, I suppose. So once you choose your team will look something like this. For example, I'm playing here a 3-4-3, and then I have one midfielder, and 2 defenders on the bench, and I have 1 goalkeeper on the bench. My main goalkeeper is David Raya. In case David Raya doesn't play, then Danny Ward will come in for him. So that's my team that I've selected so far, and that's the team that I actually selected in the previous game week as well. So I might be continuing this, or I might be making changes and all that. I'll be discussing all of that in this video. So if you are actually new to the Fantasy Premier League and you would like to know how the points work, I will share the basics of the point system as well a bit here. So if you want to know more about the point systems, how they go, you can actually go into the help section, and help section you can actually go into the rules. So how does all of that work? You can actually get all of that here. The FAQs are all here, the rules are all here, selecting your initial squad. So basically, as what I explained to you, so every week you are supposed to choose a starting 11, and then now the next thing is selecting a captain and a vice captain. So when you choose a captain for your team, the captain earns the double points of that particular game week points. For example, my captain is Marcus Rashford, and he actually, let's say, earn 10 points for this coming game week. But because he's my captain, he will earn 20 points. His points will automatically be doubled. So that's a benefit of having a captain. So it's a choice that you have to make every game week. You choose a player that can actually earn you more points. So he's like your star player, or like your best shot at. So he will earn you more points. And vice captain would be basically the player who would come in, like, let's say for example, Marcus Rashford is not playing, so maybe he's not playing, he suddenly picks up an injury and he can't really come in. So what would happen is that the system automatically would make my vice captain, for example, I think in my case my vice captain currently is Kane for this game week. So in that case, the system would automatically pick up Kane as my vice captain and replace him with Marcus Rashford. So in case Marcus Rashford doesn't play, so Marcus Rashford goes down to the bench, and some other player would come onto the bench. But because I don't want some other random player to be the captain and take a shot at him, I can actually choose a vice captain instead to earn me points. So that's the benefit of putting a vice captain. And the bench is basically like, let's say if a certain player doesn't play that week, it's not just about starting. If a player doesn't play a single minute in that game week, then only the automatic substitution will apply, and then it will bring in a player for you to replace that player with automatically. So every game week you'll get 1 free transfer to change your squad. Like, you can go into the transfer market. Unlike Spurs, we don't have to wait for January to go into the transfer market. We can actually go every week and choose 1 player from the market and replace him with 1 player let's say that any player who's not performing very well, you can actually replace that player there. So chips, basically chips are some special benefit, bench boost, free hit. You can actually read a bit more about that, what kind of benefit it gives you. Triple captain is basically one of my favorite. Like, let's say if your captain or a particular player has a really easy game week, for example, let's say there's a high chance that the Kane will score like 3 or 4 goals. He's in form against Bournemouth or any of the teams that has not been performing well lately, then I can triple captain Kane as my triple captain, and he'll earn me triple the points instead of double the points. That's 1 chip. Wildcard can be used, like you can actually make unlimited transfer for that particular game week if you are in that time. So currently a lot of people are wondering, is after the January window that period where we should be using the wildcard? I'll be addressing that question later. Deadlines basically are usually depending on every game week. You have a certain time that by then you have to make your transfers, otherwise you have to go in, or any changes in your team or any transfers that you have to make before that particular deadline timing. So there's all the deadline timings. We can actually have a look at that as well. Scoring is one. Okay, so scoring is the one that I think I used to struggle with understanding, like how players understand the points. So, okay, for playing up to 60 minutes, a player earns 1 point. For playing 60 minutes or more on the actual game day, a player earns 2 points. For each goal scored by a goalkeeper or a defender, because they're a defender and there's not likely a chance for them to score, you earn 6 points. For each goal scored by a midfielder, you earn 1 less, which is 5 points. And if a forward player, like a striker, basically score a goal, you'll earn 4 points. For each goal assist, the player earns 3 points. Now, for a clean sheet by a goalkeeper or a defender, they earn extra 4 points for that. And if a clean sheet is by a midfielder, then they earn 1 point. And actually, this was something when I was a new football fan, I would not understand what a clean sheet is. So basically, clean sheet is that when you don't concede any goal on that particular game week, it's considered that your team kept a clean sheet. So for that game week, whichever player that you have on your team, in your FPL team, and they played, I think if they played up to 60 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, will earn about 6 points if they are a defender. For a clean sheet by a goalkeeper or defender, you'll earn 4 points. And if you're a midfielder, you'll earn 1 point. Now, the other thing is, for every 3 shots saved by a goalkeeper, like let's say if a particular game week, David Raya is performing very well and he keeps up to like 3 saves and he'll earn 1 point. If he makes 6 saves, he'll get 2 points. For each penalty save, like let's say if David Raya, who's my goalkeeper, he has to face a penalty and then he's managed to save that penalty, that boosts his points as well, because then he'll earn 5 points for saving a penalty. Now, for each penalty miss, now for example, my striker is, for example, let's say Harry Kane, and he's taking the penalty and he's the penalty taker and he actually missed that penalty, it will take 2 points off his points tally, and then he'll get -2. For example, if Harry Kane's points were 5 points in that game and he misses a penalty, he will only get 3 points. So if the player didn't get any points in that week, so actually from your overall score, those 2 points will be deducted. Bonus point for the best place in a match. So basically, bonus points are selected based on the individual performance of the player, like how many touches, the overall stats, and the performance of them, and how many goals, assists, everything contributes to that. And then usually the best player of that particular fixture gets 3 points, and then the second best player of either team gets 2 points, and then the third best player of that either team gets 1 point. Based on all the stats, assists, goals, touches, passing accuracy, and all that. So that's for your bonus points. For every 2 goals conceded by a goalkeeper or a defender, they get a -1 for 2 goals. If it's 1 goal, you don't really concede a point, but if you concede 2 goals, you get a -1. Same goes for yellow card. If let's say a player that you have in your squad gets a yellow card, you get a -1 for that. And if your player get a red card, you get a -3. And also in the same way, for each own goal, for example, one of my center backs is Fabian Shah, and then let's say he scores an own goal, or even if it's a goalkeeper who scores an own goal, you'll get a -2. So these are some of the basic rules. Now, the other thing I want to highlight for all of us is that when you are choosing your players in the transfer market are not exactly in the way they play in their position. For example, you can for example look here. Saka, when he plays for Arsenal, he's actually like a right winger sort of player, but here is he's classified as a midfielder, same as Salah. Salah is a right winger, and he's kind of classified as a forward. But here they have put him as a midfielder. So in FPL, somehow they only put the strikers, the main forward line players, as the forward players. The wingers to a certain extent are also classified as midfielders in certain systems, I guess. So that's why I assume that they have classified the wingers as midfielders here too, and that's given. So basically, these are some of the basic rules of FPL going into it. Now, I was actually going to discuss about wildcard. Now this is wildcard actually. So what wildcard does is that when you have a wildcard played for that particular game week, you can make unlimited transfers. Otherwise, for every game week, you're only allowed one free transfer. But if you're playing a wildcard for that game week, you will get unlimited transfers. Like you can make as many transfers. So usually the FPL players do that after like a January transfer window, or like in the middle of the season, like there's a time like after World Cup or things like that. Like I think some people they use their World Cup after the World Cup, and now I think they're wondering that whether we should use it after the January transfer window. So it all really depends on the individual opinion. But I'm actually going to share my thoughts on the wildcard particularly now. Before I go into that, I just want to highlight one more thing, that let's say if on the game week you don't make a transfer, then that particular free transfer is added on to your next game week, and then the next game week you can make two transfers. But you need to keep in mind that you can only save up to 2 free transfers at a time. So let's say if you didn't make transfers for 3 consecutive game weeks, it would never give you 3 free transfers. I made that mistake when I was a new FPL player. I didn't read the rules properly, and I made that mistake, and I was hoping that okay, I'll get three free transfers, but in the end I didn't get the 3 free transfers. So make sure you don't make that mistake if you are new to FPL. So wildcard. Now I was actually going to talk about wildcard. Now I think currently, since we have just returned from the January transfer window, a lot of people have been asking me, and some of my friends have been wondering, like, whether is it the right time to actually play the wildcard? Is it the right time to bring in all those players that have come in during the January transfer window? Should I wait? Should I not? And how is it going to be like? So my take on it is that your wildcard is actually very important. You can actually make a lot of changes with your wildcard, and it's a crucial one. So I would actually advise, don't make a wildcard, or don't play your wildcard immediately after the January transfer window. Wait and see which players are doing well. Wait and see, is Pedro Porro going to perform well in the Premier League, or is he going to be someone who doesn't turn out well in Premier League? Wait and see whether Danjuma is really that good or not, that you can actually consider him a cheap transfer inside your FPL team. So consider all these factors. Wait and see how does Jorginho perform for Arsenal. I mean, one rule that I have for my FPL team is I don't add Arsenal players because of my loyalty to Spurs. I don't add any Arsenal players in my FPL team. So that's just me. But feel free to add in any Arsenal players inside as you would like to. You can add William Saliba, you can actually add Martin Odegaard, or you can even add Martinelli. Those players are all good, but I just don't like to add Arsenal players, particularly because I think I can make do without them as well. Like I feel that my team is pretty decent even without them. So I don't think that I need to particularly add Arsenal players, or even Chelsea players for that matter, into my squad, even though they are doing well. But I think my squad can do well without them. So as I was just telling you, that you can actually wait and see how do the current new players that have just come into the FPL and their prices have been revealed. Don't add them so fast. I know that yes, some of you might be wondering, those who are experienced with FPL, that once your players get in, or once once the players start performing well, their prices goes up and all of that factors. So I'll just advise that, yeah, if you want to add on, like let's say you know that, yeah, this player is really doing really well, like let's say Pedro Porro comes in and he scores like 2 assists, and maybe in his debut, or he scored like 1 goal and 2 assists or something like that, go for him straight away. Add him inside your FPL team for the next week before his price goes up, because if his price goes up, then you have to pay a little bit more than his initial price. For example, right now Pedro Porro is, I think at the moment, it's like it's £5 actually, I think here. Yeah, it's £5. So don't wait until Christmas to add him only. If you feel that yes, he can do well, add him in after 1 game week before his price goes up. If you really feel that yes, he's a good player, but I'll still advise play your wildcard maybe after 1 or 2 weeks of the January transfer window. Weigh your choices a bit, see how the players are doing in the different teams, in a different system. Certain players that just don't seem to work better in a certain system. For example, certain players are good as a right back, but doesn't necessarily mean they would be best at right wing back. Certain players play well in a 2-man midfield, but they necessarily may not play well in a 3-man midfield. Certain players are good as with 2 at the back system, but they may not be very good with 3 at the back. So all these factors come into play when players change teams and all of that. So just test them out in your new teams, and then only make your wildcard decision. So that's just my personal opinion on it, because I don't like to waste my wildcard just straight away after the January transfer window. Look for your price reveals and all of that. Look for your form, and look for what kind of form they would be in, and make your decisions based on that. So this is my current squad, and I think I need to make certain transfers now. I know many of you might be wondering, like, why am I not using my why am I actually gonna make now some of my transfers? Okay, the thing is that after 2 weeks I do plan to use my wildcard anyways, so I think it's time that now I should make 1 or 2 transfers maybe, because I feel Nico Williams has not been performing really well. Although I am a bit confused, like who should I take out and who should I add in. So I need to think a bit here as well, and as I do, I think with you guys. So maybe I am actually willing to take a bit of risk on taking Perisic out and put Pedro Porro in, because I have 2 free transfers. So instead of using my wildcard to add Pedro Porro in, I can actually straight away add him in. He's cheaper, he saves me like 5 points, and I can actually add 6 points here to add in another decent player who is at 4.5. So let me have a look. Who is there at 4.5 who can be a decent player or a decent defender for me? Botman is not bad, I think, but I can't add any more Newcastle players there, so I need to think again. This is going to be tough. 4.5, who should I add? Maybe I should add Botman. No, I can't. I really can't. I can't add. Let's check what kind of fixtures Leicester is having. So maybe if no, they are playing pretty tough games lately. This is going to be tough one tough choice that I have to make. Should I sacrifice one of my midfielders? Maybe I should keep Nico Williams still in the team. Who has good switch? Let's see who Leeds are playing. Oh no, Leeds have a pretty tricky run of fixtures too, so won't be a good idea to play them. Mings, no, even West Ham are not doing very well, so I don't think it's a good idea to add West Ham in as well, a West Ham player in. Let's check who are Nottingham Forest playing, because if they don't have a relatively tough fixtures, I think they're pretty fine for the next two fixtures. Maybe by the time I play my wild card, then I will be able to change it, so I can still keep Nico Williams in with Pedro Porro. Maybe I put in Ivan Perisic back. Let's see how Pedro Porro does. Sorry guys for wasting your time and just these few useless transfers that I just made. In the end, I had to reset back my squad to the same thing. So I think I'll just go with this squad, because I think the current run would be still okay. So I'll just stick to this squad at the moment. Now let's choose my team. Okay. So picking team now, I think I'll still go with David Raya, because Southampton has not been that good lately. So I'll stick to David Raya, and he will be my goalkeeper. I think he would be able to keep a clean sheet at least there. Kieran Trippier has been in form. He's one of the best players at the moment, and he's one of the best defenders in the moment in terms of points in FPL. So I'll stick to him. And he's playing West Ham, so it will be an easy fixture, I guess, for him. Fabian Schär has been pretty good as well as a centre back. I think his stats have been pretty good too. He has been keeping clean sheets quite consistently, because Newcastle has been pretty good lately. They are not conceding that many goals, so I think it's worth keeping him. I think it's time to kick Nico Williams out, because even though Nottingham Forest is playing Leeds, it's still a bit risky because he would concede a goal. So I think the only reason I put Nico Williams in there, because in the beginning of the season he was having a pretty good season. Like, you could see him getting points, and like they were keeping clean sheets and stuff like that. But I think now it's just not worth it anymore. So let's swap him with Ben Mee for this coming game week. Ben Mee is just playing Southampton, and I think as David Raya is playing as my goalkeeper, so I think I can count on both of them. But it's a bit risky as well. If either one of them can, if Brentford really go and concede a goal, then I would lose points on two players. But I think it's worth taking the risk, because Southampton have really not been that good lately. My next one would be midfield. I think I'll go with Miggy Almiron instead of Andreas Pereira, just because I think they're playing Chelsea. So I'll go with that instead of Andreas Pereira, because Chelsea can be pretty tricky, even though they are not in a good form, but recently they've signed some good players, so I think it can pose a bit of a challenge. I will keep Kulusevski in, because his goal scoring record against Man City has been really good. He has played like twice against Man City in the Premier League, and he has scored in both of those games. So I'll still keep him, because there is a chance that he will score a goal, or he will at least give an assist for Kane or Son for the Man City game. So I'll keep him. I'll definitely captain Marcus Rashford, because he has two relatively easy fixtures, and he has been in great form scoring goals. Like you can see, he's been getting some really good points over the last few game weeks. So I'll still keep him as my captain, and he has a double game week, so I will keep him as my captain. Kevin De Bruyne will still remain in. Even though whether we win or lose, we can always rely on Kevin De Bruyne to provide an assist for Erling Haaland. So I'll keep him. And then same goes for Mitrovic. Even though he is playing Chelsea, but he's a goal scorer, so it's worth betting on him that he will actually score a goal, even though they may not win the game. But I think Mitrovic will score a goal, so I will still keep him. And the same goes for Erling Haaland. I think even though both of my forwards are playing against each other, I can count on both of them to at least score goals as well, because both are the goal scoring teams. I don't think Man City or Spurs are very good at their defense, but you can always count on their forward line and their attack. So it's still worth keeping the players from Man City and Spurs inside, so I'll still keep them. And then my bench is, as you can see, Andreas Pereira, Ivan Perisic, Nico Williams, and Danny Ward. Now, one thing actually I just wanted to share with you guys, which I forgot to mention earlier, about the goalkeepers. A good choice that actually for goalkeepers, what trick you can play usually is, if you want to have a really cheap choice and you want to really choose a great goalkeeper, is you can actually go like, let's say if you are a big Liverpool fan and you just love Liverpool's goalkeepers, or let's say if you're a Newcastle fan and you know that, yeah, Newcastle has been keeping the clean sheets quite regularly. So what you can do is you can actually choose Pope and choose Dubravka. So what will happen is that automatically, if Pope is not playing, it's very likely that the manager will play Dubravka, given being the second goalkeeper. So definitely Dubravka will come in for him. That's a risk that you can take. But I think when I was choosing my goalkeepers, Danny Raya and Ward, I was getting both of them at a good price, and they're both the starting goalkeepers. So even like, let's say if I want to play my bench boost card, which you can know more about in your help section, if I play the bench boost card, I can actually get really good points for that. Even when, let's say if I go to pick teams, if I play my bench boost, I can actually get points for both Danny Ward and David Raya together. So bench boost basically allows you to get points from your bench players as well as your main 11, and that's what the bench boost is all about. So you can even try playing the bench boost after like 3 or 4 game weeks. You see that when your overall team has good fixtures and your bench has really good fixtures as well, that's the time actually where you can consider to play your bench as the bench boost. Sorry, I actually forgot to save my player here. I chose Benny here and Mickey Almiron here. I forgot to save it, sorry guys. So I've just saved it, and that's what my squad will be for this upcoming game week. These are just some of my own opinions and my own way of playing FPL. I think I've been doing pretty well lately in my game weeks. I've been getting good average points as well. I mean, I'm not the master of the game, but this just whatever I've been sharing with you is from my own personal experience, like how it has been working for me. And it may not necessarily work for you. So a lot of things about that Fantasy Premier League is that it comes with experience. So you can actually rely on. You don't have to necessarily rely on what I'm sharing with you, but actually play along with it. Just try different things. Try playing putting in different players. Try to shuffle around with your teams. Make sure not to make accidentally too many transfers in between the game week, because it will deduct a lot of your points. Because whenever you make a transfer on top of your free transfers that you're given on the game week, they deduct -4 from your overall score. So make sure not to make too many transfers as well. These are just some of the basic tips actually. So yeah, here you can see all your leagues here. Now I've just started another league called Step Up Spurs, which now I'm gonna actually share with you. So guys, at Step Up Spurs now we'll be starting our own Fantasy Premier League. I know I'm starting that in the middle of the game, in the middle of the season, but I think it's time that, yeah, we can actually just still get to know each other, and next season we can actually start our new league as well. I'll share the link with you. So currently on the screen you'll see the link down here below, tiny.cc/ I think, if I'm not mistaken, the link would be tiny.cc/stepupspursfpl. So go and join the league actually, if you're keen to join us. Just let's play in the fantasy together as a community as well. It's quite fun actually to play fantasy with your friends, with your colleagues. You can even start fantasy leagues among your different circles and play with them, compare your points with them. It's pretty fun actually. I started Fantasy Premier League a couple of years ago with my friends, and I think actually you all may not know, it was actually through Fantasy Premier League when I started. I basically had no interest in football, but just somebody invited me to just try Fantasy Premier League a little bit. It was through Fantasy Premier League that actually I discovered my love for Spurs, because I used to put Harry Kane in there and he used to score me quite well. And then I started watching the Tottenham games quite regularly, and slowly I became a Spurs fan, and that's how I actually ended up becoming a Spurs fan. It was just beautiful. I mean, I remember those days. Those were the days really. So just play along with it. Play it with your friends, play it with your family members, play it with your colleagues, play it with your classmates. So you can even start your own leagues. You can actually invite them to even our league as well. And it will be fun. Like together as a community, we will be playing the Fantasy Premier League. It will be fun indeed. I mean, I can't wait for the exciting times that are ahead of all of us in this community at Step Up Spurs channel. And we will even do some reviews together with all of you. So certain review that or certain streams that we'll be doing in the future, you all can come and share your fantasy team as well with us, and you can share how what are you doing. You can share some of your own tips or your own trades in the comments here section below for this video as well. But in future, I do plan to do streams specifically where all the fans can come in and share their thoughts on their own fantasy Premier League teams, and that would be fun. I can't wait for that. So if you all want me to start streaming the lives for such stuff and such content, make sure you all hit the like and subscribe button, because once I hit 100 subscribers, I'll be start doing live streams and live shows. Currently, I think we are at about 60 something, and once we have hit 100 subscribers, we will start doing all of that cool stuff, the live fan shows, the live fantasy shows, where you all can just come in and share your thoughts on fantasies, the live shows with the panelists. We might be even inviting some experts to share their expertise on different areas of football. So make sure you share about this channel with your grandparents, with your friends, with your cousins, with your nieces, with your nephews, with your siblings, or everybody out there in your village, everybody out there in your town, everybody out there in your city, everybody out there in your country. Tell them about the fun that we are going to have at Step Up Spurs. So I'm really excited for all of that fun. I hope you all are. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed it, please once again hit the like button. It really helps. And see you guys next time for my next video. And as always, come on, you Spurs.